What's going on, Wolfman fans? This is video number 2, because the second one I was right in the middle of recording. This is the bad part about recording on my phone, is the fact that somebody calls you, recording stops, and it's done. And guess who called me? A flippin' telemarketer. How do I know it was a telemarketer? Because it came up on screen as a telemarketer. Because somehow, somewhere, somebody got a hold of my phone number, and now I'm getting calls from everywhere. I'm on the National Do Not Call Registry, and it's getting to the point where I'm losing my mind over this. If any of you guys have any good suggestions on how I can fix this problem, I'm all ears, man. Anyway, I hope you guys had a wonderful last week. We're going into a beautiful weekend, and I do mean beautiful. It's actually nice and sunny, at least here in North Texas area. And if you guys in this area, you understand it's been kind of cold, wet, and rainy, and just generally not pleasant. I mean, this last week we had thunderstorms, and it was raining like crazy. And not just for like an hour. No, it was all day. When it wasn't raining, it was super foggy. So it's just been cold and wet. And as such, had a fire going, and because I don't live in an area where I can go out and like chop firewood, I gotta go like buy some firewood. So they didn't have any regular just firewood fire. Sorry, they didn't just have regular firewood. Why is this so hard? They didn't have regular firewood. They had grilling wood, so hickory, mesquite, whatever. So I thought to myself, well, wood is wood. So now my house just smells like I've been out there smoking some brisket, and it smells like mesquite in here, which I'm cool with, and it does its job, so it works. Anyway, again, hope you guys are going into an awesome weekend, spend some time with friends and family. You guys all deserve a break. You guys have been working hard, and I want you guys to all have the best because I love you all. Anyway, let's move on into today's video. What I wanted to talk about today is, because there's so many things to talk about, there really is. There's Beto dropping out of the presidential campaign. Good. Nobody wanted him as president anyway. There's the incident with the Mexican cartels right there in northern Mexico, right just south of our border, with the family that was murdered. Like their car was just shot all to pieces, and it blew up or caught on fire or whatever. By the way, that's an interesting story to follow, and the possibility of a joint U.S.-Mexican effort to destroy the cartels. I think that would be a really wonderful effort. If that actually happened, that would be an awesome thing. I've been saying for years that needed to happen. That's something I think is very important to follow, and we'll see how that progresses. But today I kind of wanted to just talk about why it is I do this, because I've actually had some people ask me, why I make these videos, and why I get into these discussions that I do. They didn't understand. Like, my wife doesn't understand why such things interest me. Like, because if I get in this conversation, it's that oh God, here we go kind of thing, But I'll tell you what. Look, this country, if we don't make the effort like we're doing, if we don't make this effort to try to reach people and try to get reach them with some truth, some logic, and we try to if we don't try to bring each other together to stand up as one to protect what this nation is and protect it for the future, we're going to fall apart. This country is going to go to hell. We didn't get where we are as a nation being communists, being socialists. We got here being a constitutional representative republic. That's what we are, and that's what we have been since the beginning. And it's because of that and our capitalist economy that it's brought us to where we are at the forefront of the modern world. What's the problem with that? Some people that know, socialism, and atheism, these are the ideals of the future. How? What are they going to do? Like, you look back in history and realize that those Countries that have gone on those principles kind of failed and continue. If you look at China as your model of a successful communist country, or Cuba maybe, go look at how life is down there. It's not exactly wonderful. They don't have the same amenities that we have here, the same freedoms that we have here. You can't get up in those countries and talk shit about the country like you do here. We're one of the few countries in the world that allow you to get up in public and talk shit about the country you live in. And because we're so awesome, we allow you to do it, and we tell you that's your right to do it. But you want to destroy that. Why do you want to destroy that? Why do you want to destroy this nation? Look, if I have a goal, if I can get on here and I can reach just one person and change somebody's thinking, change their mind from being so obtuse and argumentative of a leftist to maybe thinking, maybe this isn't 100% right. Maybe I should look into this more. If I can do that, I've done my job. And that's why I do this. I want to change people's thinking as far as don't just blindly follow what some crazy nut job in Washington said. Don't just follow what some celebrity said on Twitter or Facebook or whatever. Don't follow. If you're following the advice of social media, you fucked up. I'm sorry. And excuse my language. I'm not monetized, so I really don't care. And I don't expect that there's a lot of little children watching my channel. So a few obscenities here and there I'm not really concerned about. But again, if you really let Twitter run your life, you fucked up somewhere along the line in your life. And it's time to review your circumstances, okay? It's time to review your life and kind of go, maybe I made a wrong turn somewhere, okay? Look, but again, that is my purpose, is I want to try to reach somebody. And I do this in real life too. I have two examples of friends of mine. I will not say either their names, and I really won't get into the topics that we discussed. Okay, I'll allude to the topics. I got one of them who's I haven't been able to change his mind, and the discussion is racism. I will hand it to them that at least his outlook isn't so negative that it affects his life. I mean, badly, like to the point of debilitating and where he can't actually go to work because he's afraid of racism. He just believes that racism is a rampant thing, but whatever. I can't change his mind. We agree to disagree, and that's just how it is. But at least he actually has reasoning behind it. He does have some logic behind it, and it's a lot of personal anecdotal stuff. I can't refute that, but it is what it is. On the other hand, I do have another friend of mine. Our topic was sexism, and at the same time inherent homophobia and transphobia, that kind of thing. And we talked about this for forever. And he eventually started turning his mind, shifting his thought process and realizing that there is no rampant patriarchy issue. It's funny, all the stuff he did believe, he never actually believed the pay gap was a real thing. He knew that was false information. But it's like, take that as a starting point and branch out from there. And he realized that 90% of the stuff that he believed was just lies, was just misinformation, it was designed to spread hatred and spread fear. And he's realized that now. And he's kind of changed his way of thinking. Not his moral stance and how he thinks personally about trans people or gay people or whatever, women or whatever. He doesn't change his stance on them personally and how he thinks about them, but he's changed his thinking on how everybody else sees them and how there's some rampant overbearing patriarchy and homophobia and stuff like that. He's changed his thought process. And now he openly talks against that stuff as if it's the biggest, according to him, like one of the biggest hoaxes ever perpetuated on mankind. Which I would put some credence to, honestly. But again, that's why I'm here. I'm here to talk to y'all and kind of make my points of this is how I see the world. And I figure maybe if I put my opinions out there and I'm telling you straight up, again, you can always come back and talk to me and refute what I say, come and tell me the way you think, and I'm happy to open a dialogue with anybody. You know, that's where we're at. That's how this needs to run. And you don't have to agree with me 100% on every single thing. We can agree to disagree, and it's fine. It's like my other friend, again, we agree to disagree. But it doesn't mean that we're not friends and we can't get along and we can't work together. We sure can. And we both have a mutual belief that things in this country actually could be better, but we can't do it if we don't work together. We both understand that. So, you know, and I think that's really the ultimate goal here. If this country is going to survive for future generations, for the next generation and a generation after that and so on, we can't be divided as a people. We can't hate each other for the false information that we believe, you know? We have to collectively come together and understand some very general basic truths. Again, we don't have to agree on everything, but there are some basic truths that we all need to understand. And I think if we can do that, and then we can realize that we are being overwhelmingly lied to by people whose interests are not, their interests are not your interests. Their interests are for themselves and themselves only. And I think this used to be common knowledge that politicians lie. It used to be a very, very common thing, and people understood that. I don't know why all of a sudden people trust the likes of Bernie Sanders and stuff. They're like, oh yeah, of course, we trust everything he says. He's right. He wouldn't lie to us. Are you sure? Are you sure? Look at the man's history. Look at that man's personal history, and you tell me that you don't think he would lie to you. But anyways, look. We don't have to, again, agree on everything, but we can come together on some basic truths, some basic principles. We can all agree that racism is bad. We can all agree that sexism is bad. We can all agree that the transgender thing is kind of odd. Nobody wants to admit that. Nobody wants to admit that that's weird, but it is, for real. And we know that really there are people suffering from gender dysphoria, that they need help and they need support. And then we have people who they're what did we say, the transtrenders or the trendgenders, I think is something like either way. And those people they're doing it because they want that attention. We can all agree that that's the case. Nobody's born that way. We can agree that is weird. I mean, there are some people who would argue, but I think the mass majority of people will go, okay, you know what? I didn't want to say it before, but yeah, it's weird. Okay. We agree that we should stop sexualizing children. That's a fourth thing. Wow. We can agree that politicians lie. That's a fifth thing. We can agree that we don't want the government to take any more of our money out of our income. That's number 6. Man. Could we go further? Yes, we could. We can agree that everybody has a right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. 7, we can agree that it's kind of obnoxious when we have to work our asses off for the little that we do have, and somebody who just came over here last week from Mexico with 3 kids in tow is now on food stamps and doesn't work at all. She gets housing, she gets health care, and she gets food stamps. You can't tell me that we're not angry about that. You can talk about human rights all day long, but then you turn around and go home and go, man, I just worked like a 80-hour week. Double the normal 40-hour week. You worked an 80-hour week, and you're exhausted, and you're still broke. But these people are doing fine. I really hope that faith in humanitarianism can, put food on the table at the end of the night. I really do. But I think there's some basic principles we can all agree on. I think if we can at least come together and understand that this is the thing, that this is the truth here, I think we can stand a little bit firmer together, and we can start to bridge this divide that we have. I kind of gone off the rails a little bit, and I'm sorry if I lost any of you guys, but let's bring it back. Bringing it back to us standing together against basically stupidity. And let's stand up for the future and the continuing of continue building a great nation. Our job is not done. Our job is never done. This country is imperfect, but it's the best there is in the world, but it's still imperfect. And our job is to continue building and making it better. And we can't do that if we're thinking in reverse, okay? So anyway, that's all I really have. I hope I didn't lose you guys. I tend to go off on tangents, and I apologize for that. I hope I didn't lose you too bad. But again, if you guys, if you agree with me, like, subscribe, whatever. If you disagree with me, feel free to discuss. I'm happy to hear what you have to say, and I'm happy to reply back to you. Open line of dialogue, and I encourage you guys to talk amongst yourselves, talk amongst each other, not just here in the comments section, but out in public too, out in the world, face to face with people. I encourage that. I encourage, as usual, you guys to do your own research and come to your own conclusions. Don't just take my word for it. But that's really all I got. I'm going to go stoke my fire a little bit. It is a little bit chilly again. Love the smell of mesquite. I hope you guys continue on having an awesome weekend. I really do love every one of you. I really don't care what your beliefs are, as long as you guys are willing to open your mind and listen and open yourself up to a different way of thinking. I love every one of you. And I hope to hear from you guys, as always. So you guys stay awesome. Have an awesome weekend. I love the word awesome. Could you tell? Anyway, you guys stay awesome. Keep your head on a swivel, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.